Hello everyone, I'm Esperanza Walsh, and this is Art from the Heart at St. Augustine's Church. And today we're going to do underpainting. Now, underpainting is a layer paint, an initial layer paint that we put on our paper if we're doing watercolor, or we can also do it using other medias such as oil, and then use glazing over it. But for watercolor, it of course would be setting the tone for our art piece, or it would also be some sort of guide for the shape of the artwork. And I usually use this technique to do portraits. So when I do portraits, instead of sketching a person's features using a pencil, I underpaint. And I use it using a color very close to the skin tone, usually lighter, so I can just darken certain areas while I put the layers of watercolor on. So for this activity, we are going to paint some leaves. We're going to use primary colors as our underpaint. So that's red, yellow, and blue. And for the activity in class, this is what we have finished. This is the output of red, yellow, and blue. And we are going to do this now. So have your primary colors ready and have some green paint ready as well. Okay, we are going to follow the positions as well. So the first one I am going to do would be the yellow one in the middle. And instead of lemon yellow, I will be using yellow ochre for this one. Okay, and for underpainting, always paint wet and dry. And before you paint a layer over it, please make sure that the underpaint has completely dried so that there won't be no bleeding between colors. So I am going to do the one in the middle first. So I'm gonna start with that stem over there. And then I am going to paint the leaf itself. It's like a silhouette of the leaf. No details. Well, you can actually put that using the underpaint as well, but I don't usually practice that. So for me, it's just really just like a sketch, but with the added extra of having a layer of paint on the paper. Okay, so we have that leaf. Now we will paint it with red. Let me just get some red paint. Let me put this under. Okay, so for the red bit, we will paint that. Yes, I'm just moving the brush left and right to create this shape on the edge. Just a little bit more. Okay. And then the tip, I have to make sure that it's pointed just like this. These are actually basic shapes of leaves. Well, there are a lot more shapes, but these are the shapes that I commonly encounter. So, okay, I've done the red underpaint. Again, the paint has to be diluted, not too thick, so that it won't overpower the layer that will be painted over it. Now, off to the blue one. So we have to paint the blue leaf. I think I should make this a little bit smaller just to give this some balance. It's like an apple. And then we create that pointy bit at the end. Okay, maybe a little bit bigger because I want it to be balanced with the other leaf on the right. There we go, with that pointy tip of that leaf. And then curve it here. And then we've done the underpaint for our blue leaf. Okay, well, maybe a little retouch here. Okay, perfect. Now, all we have to do is to let it dry. Let me see. Yeah, the middle bit has already dried because we did that first. So I can now paint that with green. So let me just get some green paint. To bear with me. Just mixing the colors. Okay, I'm now painting green. Again, just like my underpaint, I'm painting it with green, which is quite dilute. There we go. And then I'm gonna turn it a bit around so that I can paint the other side easily. And then I have to make sure that the pointy bit here is still there after I painted it with the layer paint. And then the stem. Let us not forget the stem. Okay, so I've done my underpaint and I painted green over that. Now we'll paint green over the red one. And the reason is, this is the second underpaint we did. So that means this should be drier than this one. Okay, so we are going to do that one now. Okay, bear with me. Okay, the green paint automatically darkens because red would be darker than yellow. And I'm gonna do the same thing I did earlier. I'm gonna turn it around. That's just to make it easier for me to paint the leaf. I'm gonna make sure that all the edges that I would like to be seen would still be there. So I might go over the red underpaint a little bit. That's fine. Okay, and now, again, as I said earlier, don't forget the stem. Okay, so we've painted two of the leaves. So now the red and the yellow one has been painted. Off to the blue one. Oops. Okay, I need some green paint. Then I'm gonna paint over this one. And then I'm gonna turn it around so I can paint the other side easily. And I'm gonna make sure that I have that tip that's originally supposed to be there. So I'm gonna go over the blue underpaint a little bit, just a little bit, and then concentrate the color there. And then after doing that, of course, I am not going to forget about the stem. Oh, here. I need to get some more paint. Bear with me. A little bit more over there. Okay. This is almost finished. Okay. So these are my three leaves. As you can see, if the resolution in my computer camera is good. You can see that this leaf has a bit of a brownish tinge. This looks more like yellow-green, and this looks like dark green. So that is the effect of red, yellow, and blue on green. Now, I want to complete this because I want it to look like leaves, real leaves. And with that, I want it to be something like this, where I can see some ribbing on the leaves. To do that, I would need to lift some paint. To lift the paint, I first have to paint the ribs with water, only water. So I've painted that with water. Now I'm gonna rinse my brush, make sure it's dry, and I'm now going to lift this area, the paint here in this area, which I painted with water earlier. Okay, there we go. As you can see, the underpaint is still there. And then this area. Okay. Then I'm gonna remove the excess water here. Wow, that's looking very good. Okay, I'm still doing the same thing. I have to rinse my brush occasionally to ensure that I can lift paint, because if there's a buildup of pigment on the brush, it won't serve its purpose. So I need to wet that area again because it has already dried. Okay, because the weather's a bit warmer than usual today, so the watercolor dries up quickly. It's a good thing. We won't need the dryer to dry our artworks quickly. So for this one, the one in the middle is finished. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the leaf on the right side. So I'm painting it with water. So the ribs. And then I'm gonna rinse my brush. Then I am going to lift this paint. Okay. And then, oh wow, that's looking beautiful. But I have to rinse my brush occasionally, as I mentioned earlier, so that the pigment that has been built up there would be removed. Okay, now I am going to remove the excess water at the end. Oh dear, there we go. So now we have this one, and again, you can see the underpaint. And for the last one, okay, for the last one, it's gonna be a little bit tricky because it's still slightly wet. So I'm just gonna try and lift the paint first without wetting it. So that's working. Okay. Wow, this is looking pretty well. And then again, here on the sides, rinse your brush. Rinse your brush. Rinse your brush. And there we go, beautiful. So other side of that leaf, we're gonna do the same thing. Okay. Wow, amazing. Oh, we're almost finished. So I just have to make sure that the paint has been lifted. So now I have my 3 leaves created using different underpaints, red, yellow, and blue, which are the primary colors. So we can see how that affects the layer that we paint over. So if I bring this closer, you can still see the underpaint. Well, a slight staining of the underpaint on the paper. And here we are. We have our leaves. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this session. And I'm looking forward to share with you more application of underpainting. See you next time. Bye-bye.